if they want to get level or even go ahead.
Lead sits tomorrow.
So it's Halifax who'll get us underway in the second half. And again, they're going for the short kick-off, and they might get it. No, good work from Widnes to get a handle on that. It was good work as well. It was Gavin Dodd who got there in time.
That's about putting your opponents under pressure, even when they're expecting the possession. You can attack when in defence in this game, and that was an opportunity to demonstrate it. Good run there by Flynn, wanting to get an early touch in the second half.
Here's Ben Kavanagh, and Kavanagh allowed to run there.
Is that 4?
Halifax slow to close him down. Loz Wildboar now.
Last. Come on,
that's
Bob,
the 5th tackle. Mark Smith looks left, looks right, goes left. Here's Webster. Webster will hoist the kick, and again targeting Warrensey, and again Warrensey. Well, he gets there, but didn't inspire a lot of confidence that time. But he was under pressure.
I think he'll be hoping that his teammates are able to put Webster or Duffy under pressure when they're kicking the ball, give them a lot of time, and they're able to really maximise the height and pinpoint accuracy of the kick. Warrensey is going to be continually to be tested in the second quarter.
Halifax in possession, and it'll be a Widnes side presumably pumped up by their coach. There he is, the stern-looking Paul Cullen. He's been here before in his days as Warrington coach. One of his first games in charge in 2002. First win, in fact, for him was a vital relegation match, which Warrington won 19 points to 6 here at the Shea and guaranteed their safety. And he's looking for a similar sort of result here. A bit of work to do for the Widnes Vikings, though.
And you look for direction off your coach. Matt Callan will be sending out his instruction, but Paul Cullen will be sending out his. And just out that defensive set from Widnes, how tight they were defending to the ruck. The Halifax plays in the first half were making so many yards going forward, allowing Sean Penkovic, allowing Mark Gleeson to go forward. But this Widnes side have toughened up in the middle of the park, and that's where they've got to be tough against the big physical Halifax side.
Kavanagh being physical there and met by Saeed Tamgat.
His hand was still on it, Mark.
Robert Hicks keeping up a busy conversation with the players out there.
Move now. Go.
Widnes with John Duffy. Duffy drills the kick up the middle of the field, and Halifax will bring the ball back, coming across the field.
One. Move now.
Royston it was. Plays that ball, and here's Warrensey. Warrensey looking for a gap in the Widnes line. There wasn't one. That's good work from Penkovic, and Penkovic then fires the ball out wide, but the pass is just dipping in front of Mick Govin. It was.
Yeah, but he'd gone 10.
Govin, who's come off the bench in this second half. Good work from Penkovic initially.
And they had them exposed, didn't they, on the outside, but I don't think Govin fully warmed up, really, did he? Couldn't quite bend the back to get down for the ball.
It wasn't that bad a pass, was it?
Leave the ref into me, Bob.
Seen Huddersfield in Super League come out 2 minutes before they started the second half just to warm up again and refocus. Maybe not a bad idea, particularly if you've been on the bench for some time.
But it is a pretty chilly evening here at the Shea. And the two people lulled into a false sense of security and wandering around in T-shirts thinking it's summer. But they are soon rudely awakened as a reminder of winter chill creeps in this evening here at the Shea. No names, no pack drill, Terry. Here come Widnes Vikings. Mark Smith. Webster now. Webster still going. Try scorer against Toulouse last week, and Duffy again. Duffy has had that ball stolen by Tamgat, and Tamgat protests his innocence, but it's going to be a penalty to Widnes, and that was as clear as daylight.
Great chance now for Widnes to find the first points in the second half. 2 men, you see, eventually Wilson just about enters the tackle as the ball's stripped. 6 more tackles on your opponent's line. That's a dream in rugby league.
It's been a good start to this second half from Widnes. They've had Halifax under pressure, and they've got them under pressure here with Josh Sim now, the youngster, the 19-year-old academy product. Mark Smith, Duffy again fires the pass out, and Warrensey stretches for that, and it's a good job that Shane Grady got a hold of him, because Warrensey could have been gone.
But I tell you what a brilliant read by Rob Warrensey in defence. There were 2 attackers, and he was left on his own exposed. He had to look in field to see where the ball was going to come from, anticipate that, and also make sure he was positioned just in case the Widnes player got his hands on the ball.
Here's David
certainly
Larder.
stiffened up Widnes their defence. I think Ben Kavanagh and Josh Sims, two young forwards who've come on for Widnes, have done an excellent job since they entered the field.
Dana Wilson.
Move! Hold. Hold. Go.
Wilson plays the ball, it's the 5th tackle. And it's Bezic who hoists that one. That's a fair kick, downfield, and well taken that was by Paddy Flynn. And Flynn again not afraid to give the pass. Well, let's find out what was said at half-time. We'll join Ben Pro on the sideline.
Paul Cullen, as you might expect, Bill, desperate to cut out the errors in that first half. He said that they had hardly any possession, and everything that Halifax had, they'd given to them. They're particularly keen to apply pressure to the Halifax kicker, Ben Black. As for Matt Calland, he, not surprisingly, wants more of the same in this second half. A couple of injury problems for him. Mark Gleeson came off to be replaced by Sean Penkovic in that first period. He was holding his rib as he came off. He's okay to continue though, but Miles Greenwood sustained an eye injury in that first period, and they're confident he should return as well.
Which is why Shad Royston is at full-back, but that's Lee Patterson tidying up that kick from Widnes. Referee calls held, Patterson plays the ball, Royston sets off, Widnes offside.
Well, I think the markers weren't square. Lee Doran there, you see the Widnes back row forward, had to be stood in front of the man playing the ball. Now, it's such a quick play, the ball, he releases him, you can see he's at the side if not behind him, and then instantly gets involved in the tackle. He had to stay out of that play.
That penalty's come because Lee Duran didn't dominate that tackle. You dominate the opposition, you put him on his back, you can get set, you can let Toa Korilov get to second marker. You've just got to dominate, and that's where Halifax have been really strong. And again, aggressively running forward.
Tamgart really does give it his all when he goes on one of these charges. Plays the ball.
Watch that down, Saeed.
There's David Larder. Larder struggling to get to his feet.
Keep coming. Move. Hold. Go. Quicken it up, Loz. Okay.
Bob Bezic plants the kick in, and Paddy Flynn calmly lets that one run dead.
Nice variety from Halifax in attack. This time they kick the ball behind Flynn. Just waits patiently, hoping it'll roll over the sideline. He has to be aware of the men behind him.
He's not here, is he?
He was the big recruit during the close season for the Halifax club. Pinched him from Widnes Vikings, where he'd had 3 years. It's a Widnes scrum deep in their own territory. Just for a moment,
Come on, hold.
It looked as though the offload was coming.
Go.
It was Richard Varkulis who was tempted. Two
Hold.
tackles gone, and now it's Halifax working hard to pin this Widnes Vikings side down. They're up quickly in the faces of the Vikings, but Gaskell, being treated a few moments ago for a knock, puts the pass out wide. Toa Korilov can't take it. Knock on by Widnes, another error.
But it's Widnes going for that big play, trying to play around this Halifax side. They're really tough and strong in defence, but it's about the short little length plays. You've got to earn the right to go wide, and Widnes just at the minute aren't doing that. They're trying to come up with that big play, trying to set their outside backs, give them a bit of space, see what they can do. But you've got to do the ground, you've got to get them quick play the ball for your acting halfbacks and your hooker.
And from the base of the scrum, Halifax, a sniping run from Mick Govin. Govin plays the ball. Penkovic back to Neil Cherryholm. One try already tonight, Cherryholm. Mark Roberts. Roberts testing the defence. John Duffy who makes the tackle.
Hold. Go.
Penkovic now. Ben Black. Here's big Neil Cherryholm again. Lee Duran with the tackle. Three tackles gone.
Go.
Ben Black. Mark Roberts takes the pass.
4. Just don't work him for too long.
And then plays that ball. Dwayne Barker. Ben Black. Saeed Tamgart looked high. Was on the shoulder, said the referee.
Move.
And then the penalty against Widnes, and Jim Gannon, I think, will get a talking to. He's called Mark Smith out.
Who I talked to you about just before half time. I heard you have a word. It's not my problem though.
And referee Hicks just asking Mark Smith to again tell his players they really have got to speed this up at the play the ball.
Well, if Halifax get 2 points from this, I think we should give some credit to Saeed Tamgart, because that's the way to run on a ball, with real intent. Determined to burst through the other side. He's held down and mauled on the floor. simply because he ran in so aggressively. They lost that collision, they lost the battle, they lost the concentration in the play.
I think Steve Deakin brought him to Oldham from French Rugby League. Saeed Tamgart. And Mick Govin now has taken over the goal-kicking duties. He's already kicked 12 this season for the club. And this penalty adds another couple of points to their tally. 18 points to 4, Halifax are ahead, and the penalty conceded by Widnes. And again, they're responsible for their own downfall. It's all their own doing, most of this, Terry.
Paul Cullen won't be happy with that. As leader, and that's the 4th penalty tonight that he's given away. You've got to get your body in front of people like Saeed Tamgart, and you've got to come up with a dominating tackle. That close to your line, you've got to make sure that you come up with a real defensive effort, turn him on his back, and just because Widnes lost control of that ruck, that's why they give that penalty away.
John, just work on your 10, mate. Just hold it. You're just going slightly early. Yeah.
Halifax,
just wait for the
as
goal.
you can see there, a very difficult side to beat here on their own pitch, and they have a good record here at the Shea, and it looks at the moment as though that's going to be preserved. Here is Tamgart once more. From the restart.
Hold. Go.
Penkovic now.
Go, put your hands back in, Jim. That's 2.
Sherry home.
Move. Hold.
Well, he was a late call-up. Matt James having to pull out with an injury. Neil Cherryholm getting a late call, but that's not a good pass. And it's David Larder who holds his hand up, and that ball has sailed out of play.
Well, they're talking about 1 minute's work here. Widnes have worked hard here to prevent Halifax rolling forward, some quick play the balls. And they've got a little bit carried away. They've thrown the ball, kept it alive. Gifted an opportunity here now for Widnes, who probably have to score next in this game.
Well, this is a great opportunity for them then.
Tackle 1. Move now. Hold. Go.
Mark Smith now.
2.
2 tackles gone.
Hold.
As Michael Ostick plays that ball.
He just got you off him.
Smith.
Off the neck.
It's with Anthony Thackeray now, who's on the field for the Vikings.
Move. Hold 2 feet. Go.
Thackeray plays the ball. Gavin Todd. Todd out wide. Try in the corner here for Dean Gaskell. And that was well constructed. And this time, it's Halifax who made the error, and it's Widnes who are doing the punishing. And it was simple but effective as Gaskell goes in the corner for his 3rd try of the season.
Well, it appears as though Widnes have favoured their left when attacking. Here's the area on the other side of the field, ball going over the sideline, touch judge puts his flag up, and Widnes do well. Look at the players, running straight was the important thing there from Gavin Dodd. Too many players run towards the corner flag. He straightens up the play with his first action and then passes off the right foot onto Grady, into Gaskell, and that's a very high quality try. It had to be to score against this Halifax defence, and important if Widnes had any aspirations of winning this match.
Gaskell congratulating his young centre Grady there for handing him that try on a plate. And Gavin Dodd with this conversion attempt. It's a difficult one from way out wide. Favours his kicking style, but it's wide of the target. But it's what Widnes needed, and it came courtesy of that Halifax error.
Don't dummy this kick-off and then they won't.
Widnes closed the gap. 18-8 the scoreline here at the Shea then.
But the turn run, you watch Thackeray, he's looking for his plays, looking for options inside and out. There's no one pushing up into that next hole. But it was just a sheer determined run off Shane Grady with the ball off Gavin Dodd that got Widnes back through and into this game. And a little flick pass out there to Dean Gaskell, trying to rev his players up as he's walking back for the kick-off.
Govin then with another hanging restart, and again Halifax are chasing it, and they'll get it, and Tamgart, it went backwards, said the referee. Only just.
Well, it's no fluke, is it? They did it to start the second half. 13 and a half minutes later, they've done it again, and this time come out with possession, better execution.
Penkovic takes them on. He could be heading for the touchline here. The ball is still in play. It's been knocked on by Warrancy, I think. Warrancy disputing that. I don't know if it hit the ground.
It did hit the ground, but was there a knock on?
Let's get in. Let's get in.
Too late to argue about it now. Penkovic releases it.
They're all here now.
Did it come off his left hand before it hit the ground? Quite possibly so.
Get your head in, John.
A number of Widnes players, 4 in the tackle.
Hang on, hang on. All right, now the ball.
They're certainly pumped up in the second half of the Widnes Vikings. They've got the try they needed.
Move, hold, go.
And they've closed the gap. But they've got more work to do here.
2, move, hold, go.
2 tackles gone. Thackeray, here's Jim Gannon now.
3, move now.
Gannon just
hold,
short of the halfway
Watkins.
line for the Widnes Vikings, plays the ball. Duffy, Ostick, and Ostick met with a big challenge there. And again, Saeed Tamgart is involved.
And Phil Larder just, Dave Larder just coming out the line. It'd be all right if Phil Larder come flying out the line. Dave Larder come flying out the line, looking for that big shot. And again, trying to dominate this Widnes set of forwards. Michael Ostick trying to lead from the front.
Phil Larder, of course, David Larder's dad, a former Widnes coach. Well taken by Royston. He, of course, is a full-back by trade. And he was cool as a cucumber underneath that one.
Keep coming, Jim.
Here's Warrency. Looking for a bit of broken space to exploit. Black gets the pass away to Paul Smith. And the pass goes behind Barker. It was Roberts.
What a great chance that Halifax created on the short side, close to the touchline. Roberts on the outside, but the pass was just behind Wayne Barker. Oh, he'd be so annoyed with himself. Roberts had done the hard work, he'd made the half break. The chance and space was in front of Barker.
Here's Gavin Dodd. Dodd has David Larder clinging to his ankles.
Hold. Go.
Well, there's more championship action to come next week as Batley Bulldogs host the newly promoted Gateshead Thunder. And first chance to see the Thunder in action, Sky Sports 3, 7:30 next Thursday. Here at the Shea, 18-8 between Halifax and Widnes. And it's Widnes in possession with Lee Duran. Duran tackled by David Larder.
Movement. Hold.
Mark Smith.
Let's tidy it up, Fax.
And here's Gavin Dodd. Dodd behind a posse of Widnes players. Halifax supporters protesting about that.
Go.
This time there's pressure on Webster. He offloads to Thackeray.
Okay.
Thackeray stabs the kick in. Royston back there. Royston will be under pressure from the chasing Thackeray, and the rest of the chasers almost gets away.
Get up. Move. Go.
Royston plays the ball.
For 19.
Warrency across the field. And he's driven backwards. He's still going held, cries the referee.
Hold.
Well, there's a real sense that Widnes have set off in this second half to hunt and chase and find a way of killing their opponents in this contest, because there's a determination. You can tell it inwardly by how quickly you move up to make tackles, and that's vastly faster for the Widnes side than it was in the first period.
Tamgart gets the pass away to Penkovic. Penkovic gets it off to Ben Black, and Black is tackled. Halifax responding to the Widnes threat. Widnes have upped the pace. Halifax are up in the pace here. Paul Smith, captain on the field. It was Barker who gave him the pass. Barker was cleaned out after the pass had gone. Here's Ben Black, so he hoists the kick. Flynn is underneath it. He does well to take that and brings it back with a vengeance. Has he got support? Is he going to need support? He has got support, but he couldn't get it to Gavin Dodd. But what a run from this youngster, from Paddy Flynn. Mark Smith now. Thackeray back on the inside. Mark Roberts with the tackle.
Hold. Go.
Now here's Jim Gannon. Gannon drives the ball in.
Move, Frank.
And the supporters who once cheered him greet his tackling with just as much glee. Here's Duffy.
4. Come on, Dave. Move, Frank.
Widnes looking for more points. Well, they'll get them here, probably 2 of them, because they get the penalty right in front of the post. But do they want to?
2, no, they want 6, Bill.
They're going for the tap, and here is Gannon once more. Again drives it in, again they repel him. Smith and Roberts with the tackle that time. Mark Smith this time. Duffy. Webster stepping past one, past the second, past the third. Back in field for Duffy. Duffy scrambling defence from Halifax brings him down. Mark Smith now. Thackeray back on the inside. to Varkulis, and Varkulis is just short of the try line.
Go.
Ostic spoons the pass out wide. Gaskell might get there.
0.
And it's 6 to go. There was a hand in there. The referee's wiped the tackle count clean. You can see him there in the background, Robert Hicks, and Ostic drives the ball in.
Move. Hold. Go.
Relentless pressure now on this Halifax try line. Thackeray back for Gannon. Oh, how he'd love to get a try here, Jim Gannon.
2.
But Halifax not in the mood to allow Big Jim that luxury. Duffy took that one standing still. Mark Smith might fancy it himself. Varkulis will fancy it.
That's 14 play the ball's Bill. They've been on this try line. Can Halifax survive?
Here is Webster. Webster then shifts a long ball out wide to Gavin Dodd. Dodd chips the kick in. Widnes will chase it. They'll get another set of 6 here as Patterson just flicks a hand out to push the ball dead.
Well, 15 chances to score, and this is the closest they probably came in those. Patterson knocks the ball over the dead ball line.
Touch judges in position.
And the game evenly balanced here now as we go towards the final quarter.
Time's off.
Player with from Halifax with an injury. Referee has to
Dwayne
stop
Barker,
the clock.
I think, is it? Yeah.
Terry used to get a similar injury at this point in the game, I do recall.
Do you know, everyone remembers me for that, don't they? It was nothing about anything to do with rugby apart from me going down with cramp. Maybe it was because I was big, Phil.
He might not have been fully hydrated, perhaps.
I think that's what it was.
Let's go.
Barker has recovered,
Time back on.
and a third goal line dropout then from Halifax, which Black gets up to the halfway line almost, and then Ostic comes back with the ball, and
Move. Hold.
Frank Watine
Yeah, you're all right.
meets him there. Here goes Mark Smith.
And the game's all about field position. And the amount of tackles that the Halifax forwards are having to do on their own line. You don't want the Mark Smiths running at you, the Anthony Thackeray's
Still
running
doing
at you.
it, Frank.
The little guys with speed.
Here's Thackeray again.
3.
Shane
10
Grady was
metres,
coming
come
back on the inside, but
Hold on,
Thackeray took
go.
the tackle. Gaskell. Jim Gannon. Gannon to Varkulis.
Move. Hold. Go.
Plays that ball, and the pass really to nobody from Webster. And Gannon picks it up. That's the 5th tackle. Now then,
Go.
Halifax going to survive another set, or can Widnes finally make it pay? Oh, they can't. They've lost the ball. Grady puts it down, and Halifax survive.
Turn over there. On the cross.
And there's a cheer from the Halifax supporters if this player wins them the game.
On this line.
We'll find out later the significance of the survival there on their own try line. They had the big man Grady on the little man Black. Created the last try for Widnes, but they survived. Now then, what will Widnes' reaction be having had so much possession? Can you push now again in defence, put pressure on your opponents? You know that their legs and lungs are paying through the effort they've had to put in. Put more pressure on them now and force a mistake again.
There's David Larder just taking the tackle. Had an eventful off-season, David Larder. In fact, he's now known in Halifax circles as the midwife, because he had to deliver his own baby daughter in January. His wife Jamie went into labour unexpectedly, and David Larder was there to deliver Josie Ann. So another qualification to add to his many assets. And the midwife has stuck. Well, it has now anyway.
Backwards, is it back to one?
It's with Rob Warrensey. And Warrensey trying to go on the outside. He might find himself in touch. Well, an audacious pass round the front. He went forward. I thought he got away with that, but no, went forward.
It would have been.
He's been put under intense pressure, Rob Warrensey, throughout this game here now. He knows when he drifts this way, he's in trouble. So many jerseys going to look again. It's rugby lift. Once the man is lifted off the floor, the tackle is immediately completed. It's a little bit hard done to though.
It was on the last. It'll be the turnover on the halfway line.
Let's go.
And here's Jim Gannon. Well, Widnes have certainly stepped it up in this second half. They've probably dominated the second half in terms of possession, but they're still trailing. They certainly have dominated the second half in terms of possession. They're still 10 points adrift, and they're running out of time.
Hold, go.
Gaskell
Keep them out
plays the
right.
ball. Mark Smith, darting run from the Vikings captain.
On your line.
Halifax really under relentless pressure now, but managing to hold out. Duffy to Thackeray to Webster. Webster goes himself and gets past one. Second man brings him down. That's a fifth tackle. It was Royston who was there to make the tackle for Halifax. Thackeray puts the kick in, gets the ball back. It's another set of 6. He's lost the ball, say Halifax. He has lost the ball, and Penkovic has got it somehow. Beg your pardon? Duffy has got it. Well, a real schmozzle on the ground there.
The referee made Penkovic give it back.
Just give him that back. Widnes again piling on the pressure.
What amazing defence here from Halifax. We have to give it some credit, even if it doesn't survive for much longer.
Webster fires the pass out. The ball goes behind Toa Koilov and he goes to ground rather than goes into touch.
Here we go, hold on. That's okay. Get out of there, Doddy!
Flynn to Lee Duran. He takes him on. Always willing to do that, the second rower.
Move, Frank!
That's the fifth tackle. Don't tell me Halifax are going to survive another one. Duffy stabs the kick in. They're chasing this, and Grady will get the try. And eventually, Halifax cracked. It's taken an almighty sledgehammering to do it, but Widnes have eventually found a way through. And the kick, a lovely little grubber, was dived on by Shane Grady, who gets his second try of the season, and Halifax just could not withstand any more pressure.
Well, what a familiar sight this is today. 6 more tackles for Widnes in the second half, attacking against Halifax. The referee said 6 more tackles, and they needed every single one of them. A true pass player, they got it a little bit wide to draw up the defence. Excellently execution there from Duffy. He introduces so many of the defenders to the play by running first with the ball, then dropping it softly onto his foot, and a perfect timed run by Grady, who stays onside firstly, then grounds correctly to, well, I would imagine now make the final 10 minutes one in which Widnes would feel rejuvenated.
This to narrow the gap then, and has Gavin Dodd got it on target? He has. It's Halifax 18, Widnes 14 now, and Widnes staging a great fight back here. Well, we had a great fight back in the game between these two sides in July last year when Widnes were 24-6 ahead, and it was Halifax who came back that day. This time it's Widnes who are doing the fighting back.
James Webster's been directing all these big guys at Halifax's big guys, because they're the lads who've really laid that platform for Halifax. But that's all come about from just really good play. Ben Black, Rob Warrington were really held up from that kick from John Duffy. Gets Widnes back into this ball game.
They're very much back in it, and their tails are up now, and Halifax
Be a good finish. That's one.
just maybe flagging a little bit. That almost was a bit of a mix-up, but Paddy Flynn took a hold of the ball for his side.
Come on, all the way. Go. No, he was
Halifax
square.
really need to just try and find a way of damping down this Widnes fire at the moment.
Go.
Well, that ball's played, and so there's a Halifax player lying right in the middle there,
Hang on.
unable to get to his feet. It's Mark Gleeson again in trouble, and he's shaking his head and saying, no, there's no way. No way I can go on. Worse to that effect.
Painful game. I think everybody lands on him, don't they?
Your wings more when you're out on a night out, than you do on the field.
Gaskell and Bob Bezic as well. He can't clear the ruck.
And Gleeson, I think, is leaving the field as we see there. But we heard from Ben earlier on that it was a rib problem.
Okay.
The kick, meanwhile, deep downfield, and Warrensey picks it up. And Thackeray there to make the tackle. Grady as well. Held, cries the referee. Thackeray's got to be careful there. Mark Roberts now. And there is Mark Gleeson. Obviously in a lot of discomfort with that problem.
I think Halifax will be so content to just clear their own half and find the sideline with a kick here. They need to stop the clock, stop the momentum that Widnes have in the game.
Frank Watine driving him up the middle of the field. Bezic. That's the fifth tackle. And the kick from Penkovic, and Gavin Dodd there to field it.
That's pretty good game management from Penkovic, isn't it? He's put them back in the corner. The lift now in Halifax, knowing that at this end of the field it's so long since they've been down here.
Now then, can Halifax force the error from Widnes? The Vikings have dominated things so far in this second half. And Widnes trying to break the stranglehold here.
10 metres. Hold.
4 tackles gone.
Frank, come on, mate.
Gaskell.
Gaskell and Flynn have been immense for Widnes by coming in field, making yards, playing the ball quickly.
Mark Smith with a good kick. If he'd given that a bit more, well, he could have got a 40-20 out of it. And it's turned the tables, and it's Halifax who have to work from deep here. Patterson plays the ball. Royston comes across the field.
Move. Hold. Go.
Just 4 points separating these two sides. Widnes still trailing here as Mark Roberts bats aside 2 of them and then gets the penalty.
No, you went up and pulled the head.
And Thackeray it is who's penalised. Disputes the decision.
He's strong and aggressive every time he gets the ball, Mark Roberts, like a little pinball, bouncing into players, bouncing off players. It was Anthony Thackeray there that said that the referee said he was round the head trying to put Mark Roberts down.
Come on.
So Halifax, the penalty taking them into Widnes territory.
Tackle 1.
There's another player down injured for Halifax in back play.
Go.
It's Ben Black, the ringmaster, and here is Neil Cherryhome.
2.
The Halifax fans liking the commitment of this former Bradford youngster. He was their reserve player of the year last year, Cherryhome.
On the line.
And Halifax now threatening this Widnes line. First time really in the second half, as far as I remember. Black will fancy his chances here. Black almost through.
4.
Needed a good tackle from Richard Varkulis to deny him that, and Black is struggling because
4.
he got a knock there, and he looks at daggers at Varkulis.
5 and left.
That's the 5th tackle. Penkovic it was who was trying to burrow his way over.
Go.
Bezic now. Black stabs that kick in and easily fielded. Let's go down to the sidelines, getting news of Mark Gleeson's injury from Ben Pro.
It is a rib problem that's eventually forced Mark Gleeson off Bill. It's rib cartilage damage. They were hopeful that he could continue because the injury was sustained in the first half. He will not play any further part in this game, but there's a problem for Widnes too because Toa Koilov is on the sidelines there with his right thigh heavily strapped, one of their main strike players. So if Widnes are going to come back and win this, they're going to have to do it without the centre.
Well, Halifax having to do without Mark Gleeson, who marked his debut for Fax with a try against Widnes in that 26-all draw last summer. What a game that was. Here's Jim Gannon. Widnes still with a bit of work to do here. They still trail, and we're inside the last 10 minutes at the Shea in this showdown between 2 of the big guns in the Cooperative Championship. And that kick into the corner has turned Warrensey around. Warrensey, is he going to get out of trouble? He is. More than that, he's going to get out of the 20. He's going to get up to the 30, Warrensey, and he's still going, Rob Warrensey, and he's lost the ball on the halfway line. We'll take the first knock-off. Knock on, says referee Robert Hicks. But what a breakout that would have been.
Well, he seems to have injured his right shoulder. I do hope he's okay. What excitement here now in the last 10 minutes. Brilliant kick into the in-goal area. He thinks he has to take the ball, not sure whether it would stay there. Burst through the first 2 tackles, accelerates faster than anybody on this field, but he's tracked back by the half-to-way line by Varkulis, who lands on top of him, and there's pain in that right shoulder as he's compressed against this surface. Oh, the first knock on. There was a secondary one from Widnes. Referee has to stop the clock.
He's entitled to hit the ball where it was.
Well, he's continuously put under pressure by Widnes. Scrutiny on his performance. Varkulis slams him, and he lands awkwardly on the right shoulder.
Still getting a bit of treatment is Rob Warrensey, and
I think he's going to get a bit more treatment if he stays on the field. Widnes are going
well,
to
I tell you what,
he
he stood up to it well because they target him from the go.
They've targeted him all night, and he's come up trumps, and that's where he's really dangerous. As I said in the first half, we saw him for Sheffield. The kick returns is what he's really good at. This game, Bill, is going to go down to who's got the best defensive effort in the last 8 minutes.
Well, it's Halifax defending their lead at the moment as Gavin Dodd tries to go round the outside. Flynn is there. Lee Duran once again takes the tackle for his side. Mark Smith, Thackeray, Duffy for Kavanagh, and Kavanagh, he's gone well for the Vikings tonight as the 21-year-old. Here's Jim Gannon. Paul Smith there to meet him.
And again, it's the big guys getting targeted from this Widnes side in the middle of the park.
Thackeray, that's a wild pass, and Webster was struggling for it. That's an even wilder pass, and Halifax had picked it up. Oh, what great hands that was. Patterson, I think it was, who fielded that kick and then flung it back in field, and Widnes have snaffled it. And they'll get the penalty. There is no justice. They did brilliantly to get hold of the ball, did Halifax. Patterson taking it and then flinging it back in field, but then Govin, I think, has been penalised for trying to steal it back.
Well, Patterson does well to firstly stay in the field, then keep the ball alive. I can't see Halifax surviving, Bill. Widnes have just had too much possession, are playing with too much skill here now, swinging the ball from left to right. I have a feeling they're going to crash over.
Here we go.
Kavanagh will play the ball. Mark Smith now. Thackeray. Jim Gannon again. Examining this Halifax defence right in front of their own posts, about 5 metres out. They have taken an almighty hammering in this second half of the Halifax defenders. That was forward. That's a cheer and a half from the Fax fans. Webster doesn't agree.
Well, the Halifax are proof that to win a game of rugby league, you need to be attack and defend. There is a forward pass to Lee Doran. Tackled anyway. But an amazing effort in first half, how they attacked and scored some points. And what resolve they've shown here when having to defend their own try line for the vast majority of the second half.
Paul Cullen looking on anxiously, his side so close on so many occasions in this second half. But somehow Halifax are still in the lead by 18 points to 14. Long way to go, of course, in the Cooperative Championship this season. This game won't decide anything. Barker has knocked it on. Widnes, oh no, Halifax get the penalty. Ostick doesn't agree. Widnes don't agree, but there was a hand in there, says the referee Hicks.
I ain't got a clue now.
Well, he's lost it. He's really made best guess available. It'd be impossible, wouldn't it, to tell exactly what's gone on. Grady dominates, drives him backwards. The ball's on the floor. I think he's lost the ball because Shane Grady's aggression in defence. He's back again here now to do it
that is
second time.
Big decision with 5 minutes to go.
Let's think about things and think of the score. Come on.
And Halifax get a lifeline there. And Tamgart is wrestled to the ground on the halfway line. Penkovic. David Larder just gets a hold of that one. It was Bezik's pass that almost wrong-footed him. Paul Smith here.
That's 4. Come on.
4 tackles gone. Halifax just trying to survive now. Just trying to pin Widnes down deep in their own half. Great pass from Penkovic. Finds Larder. Larder plays the ball. The 5th tackle. Needs to be a good kick. They're going for the adventurous approach. They'll get another set of 6. It was a knock-on. It was Flynn who went for it.
But it was close to an interception. And he would have been in like Flynn. I think that the speed that he had there with an open line. He had got himself in front of Mick Govin. His hands on the ball and then tackled by Govin.
Get in.
Oh.
Get your heads in.
I'm not so sure whether Halifax are suffering from fatigue with all the work they've done to defend, or whether there's a nervousness now about this 4-point lead going into the final 4 minutes.
Jim, you shouldn't be able to get out of that.
Ben Black on the charge, and Black already with a try to his name tonight was almost through there. Halifax going to wrap it out. They are, and it's Mick Govin who'll get the try that seals this game. And Halifax taking a hammering in this second half, come up the other end of the field, and Mick Govin gets his first try of the season. And Paul Cullen cannot believe that. I'm not sure that the coaching duo of Callendon Hall can for Halifax either, because they must have thought that Widnes was surely going to get through their defence. But Halifax have survived, and not only that, they've gone and scored up the other end.
Well, officials have to make difficult decisions. The touch judge here has attempted to help the referee. He's deemed that the ball was stolen. You might say that it just came out in the tackle. And then, of course, Widnes a touch unlucky with Flynn getting his hands on the ball. He's trying to defend that play. Gives Halifax 6 more. Ben Black takes the first one, and Mick Govin only needs 1 more to score another 4 points and confirm Halifax as winners of a thoroughly entertaining game of rugby league.
Well, just like last season, the Championship, the National League as it was then, has lived up to expectations. We had some belting games last season in this competition, and we've started off this season, well, okay, Widnes to lose, maybe not, but this one, absolutely. Although if you're a Vikings fan, you won't be agreeing with that scoreline, 24-14. How on earth, though, do Widnes find themselves in this position? Well, that's why, because Mick Govin got that ball down.
Halifax, with all the pressure that was going against them, and that try come about from the tempo and the change of tempo of run that Ben Black done. He sucked all the Widnes players in, he got up, played the ball as quick as he could. Mick Govin dove over for the try.
Warranty has batted that ball back, and Tamgart will pick it up for Halifax and gets it to Dana Wilson. And Halifax, well, this is their first championship game of the season, having had the bye last weekend, so a great way to start their campaign this will be. And Widnes will be probably kicking themselves.
And it's the sign of a real good side, that, Bill, when they've been under all kinds of pressure. People like Dana Wilson, who's playing the ball there, Bob Bezic, been really targeted and tested by James Webster, but they just seem to find the energy from within, and they seem to turn up from each other and put the pressure back onto this Widnes side.
Well, scant consolation for the Vikings, but at the moment they're in bonus point range, so they'll get something from this match, but probably feel they should have had a lot more. There is David Larder, and Larder plays the ball, the kick finds touch, the clock runs down.
And that's all Sean Penkovic will do, and he knows there's only a minute left now in this game. The game's in the bag for the Halifax side. But Widnes will look back as well, Bill. They're trying to form the scrum as quick as they can to get something back out of this game to take into next week. Those players know that the game's gone. Oh, it was a real big start, and Paul Cullen and John Stankovic there that's in your picture. The coaching duo at Widnes will, I'm sure, take a lot of positives, but the first half was disappointing for them, where the missed kick, they put the ball out twice, which led the field position to the Halifax side, who scored the points.
Widnes trying to the last, but it's Halifax who are going to be celebrating tonight. And okay, there's a long way to go this season, but this is a pretty good marker to put down, isn't it, Terry? First game, and you beat your big rivals.
Yeah, Matt Callan will be very happy with the result tonight. He knew that this was going to be a real test for him. But, you know, you've seen 2 of the form teams, 2 of the top teams this division, but I'm sure there's going to be many more games like this, Bill.
And a great roar from the crowd here at the Shea. They rise to their feet to salute. A great performance from this Halifax side in a really exciting championship game where they've just shaded it against this Widnes Vikings team. Well, they maintain their dominance over Widnes as well, because 3 meetings last season, Halifax won 2 and the other one was a draw, and now they've won this one, and they were never behind in this game with Halifax, having taken an early lead with that Ben Black try after that disastrous start to the game from the Widnes Vikings. And credit to the Vikings for the way they really came back in the second half and very, very nearly got over their opponents, but fantastic defence. Lost count of the number of successive sets that Halifax had to defend on their own try line, but it must have been getting on for half a dozen. And 2 goal line dropouts as well. So these will be bruised, battered, weary, but delighted Halifax players who are saluting their supporters. And Halifax really pushing it for this season, trying to generate a bit of a feel-good factor. Well, there's no better way to do that than to start with a win like that. And Dwayne Barker celebrating, as will David Larder be celebrating, because not only is he on the winning side, but he's also the man of the match, and he's downstairs with Ben.
David, a great win for you. Was that a victory based as much on defence as attack?
I certainly think so. I think certainly in the second half we had a good first half and we went into the second half pretty confident, but I think if we look back, we probably made it a bit difficult for ourselves in that second half, give them far too much ball, myself included, by silly mistakes. But you know, they completed the sets, and you know, they worked to the kick, and you know, it was a pretty close thing at the end of the day.
It doesn't come much tougher than one of the championship favourites first up. You're also favourites in some places as well. How important psychologically is that victory?
It's a long season, Ben, to be honest with you, and I think it's too early days to start looking at that. It's obviously a massive game for us. It was obviously our first game, and you know, we probably waited a month for this as soon as we realised the fixtures. And you know, Widnes at home is always going to be a tough game, and you know, we're just obviously glad that we got the season off to a good start.
And special from a personal point of view, of course, your father, a Widnes coach in the past. Does that make this extra significant?
I don't think so. My dad certainly had a great time at Widnes. You know, I used to go watching, and you know, I really enjoy the days. I've still got friends, and my dad's still got friends there. So you know, like I say, it was just nice to get the season off to a start for Halifax.
David, you're the man of the match this evening. £100 goes to the RFL Benevolent Fund. There's £100 to the charity of your choice. Where's that going, please?
I'll donate it to the Mike Gregg Fund.
Thanks very much. Well done. Paul Cullen also joins us. Paul, your first game in charge, a really tough place to play. Did you give yourself too much to do in the end?
Oh, first of all, you got to credit Halifax. You know, they've really set about us tonight. We didn't think we have it all our own way. Not like last week. We knew it was going to be really, really tough. And they're just a little bit better tonight on those last play options. You know, I thought we were a little bit flat, possibly a little bit predictable, and you know, they handled it better than we did. You know, we got caught out with a few of those kicks and ricochets early on, and you know, spent a little bit too much time defending on the back of it.
Was it a case of too many errors as well in that first half?
Well, they don't help anyone, do they? But you know, it's not simply just the case of that. You know, we got some good field position. They defended very, very well. You know, I think we just got to be a little bit more decisive with those last play options.
Thanks very much, Paul.
You're welcome.
Paul Cullen taking defeat graciously there, and only just so close in that second half. Halifax winning 24 points to 14. The damage done for Widnes in the first half, and what a fantastic game it was, and what a great advert it was for the cooperative champions.